Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Glad you're along for the ride today. We'll have JC momentarily. We'll have Franz Beer from Gator Bait Media. Get his thoughts on what's going on with basketball and other Gator-related issues. If you missed it last night, Lady Gator softball team loses at home. Rothrock, I think she got shelled by Alabama, JC's team. About time they beat us in something. And then we got to give a shout out to the Lady Gator golfers.
Oh,
They were like the 8th seed at the SEC tournament, and they are playing for the SEC championship today against the number 1 seed, Lady Gamecocks. So congratulations to them, and we'll see if they can pull it out. Jason, you're on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. What's going on?
Well, first thing is my thoughts go to Tallahassee today.
True.
With what happened yesterday and the madness that is across our schools and campuses, I don't know what the answers are other than, well, I better not say. But I'll just say that, it's a tragedy. So I'm wearing the state hat today because. Is
that a Florida State hat?
Yeah, see, it says state down. This is what they used to wear on their helmet.
Where did you find that hat?
Dude, that's old school.
Oh, I know what it is, but I mean, did you actually
Where did I find
that?
it? Yeah, I bought it at a flea market. But because I've always liked this logo where it says state down the peninsula. They used to wear that on their helmets, and their helmets used to be silver. And that was back when Doak Campbell Stadium was basically just two sides, metal erector set is what they used to call it. But that was back in the 70s. Daryl Mudra was their coach back then, and this goes way back. I mean, way, way back, this logo. But it's still the school. Listen, for all the grief I give FSU with their athletics, and rightfully so, I never really minded Tallahassee. In fact, I really like Tallahassee. I have always liked the golf there. I like the campus. I think is nice. There's nothing wrong with FSU. It's just their athletics is pathetic. But other than that, my thoughts go to the folks in Tallahassee dealing with this tragedy and the people who lost their lives and who were hurt by this maniac who decided to basically commit suicide yesterday and go rampaging through with a gun. So that I wanted to mention before we get into anything.
I don't think he committed suicide. I think he's alive.
Well, I think that when you decide cognizantly, when you make a cognizant decision to wake up in the morning and I'm going to go take a gun and shoot up a bunch of people in a school, your life is essentially full.
Well, no, I know that, but Andy says we just need to ship him off to the prison in El Salvador.
Well, I think they should shoot him, but that's me. So anyway,
I think it'd be worse to send him over there than to shoot him. But anyway, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, it's horrifying. It's awful. So I mentioned this, and I feel bad about what happened yesterday at Florida State University. With that, I'm thinking about the playoffs in basketball, the NBA. By the way, I have to mention the horrible pick of the Chicago Bulls. I've been tweeted some responses how we're all homeless now.
Loyal listeners are pissed off.
I gotta say, I never really thought I should have known that Eric Spoelstra was going to coach circles around Billy Donovan. Billy does not belong in the NBA. He's in over his head. He's not a winner there, and he should move on. But he's getting paid very well, so I understand why he's in the NBA. But without Kevin Durant, he never would have won in the NBA. Having said that, I think it's being proven with the Chicago job that he has. With that, Miami is now moving on to play the Atlanta Hawks. That is the game to determine the 8th seed. Memphis is playing tonight, and they are playing. They're playing. The Memphis Grizzlies are playing in the West against Dallas, and Dallas, the winner of that game, will then move on to be the 8th seed in the West. And neither of these 4 teams, I think, has a chance of beating either Oklahoma City or the 1 seed in the East. So the playoffs are beginning in the NBA. The NHL begins its playoff season tomorrow. My trip to Winnipeg has been postponed because of the dates of the games. Unfortunately, they fell on different dates than I thought. So I've luckily bought everything refundable, but hoping to go to Winnipeg for round 2 in the NHL playoffs. Having said that, the Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers are ready to gut each other in the first round of the playoffs, which makes no sense to me why you would have 2 of the better teams playing in the first round of the playoffs in hockey, but that's how they do it. I think it's asinine. So they're going to play. Florida and Tampa Bay do not like each other. If you like to see blood and gore, this will be a series for you. Having said that, I could go through all the other playoffs, but I don't think that's why most people tune into this show, so I won't. But golf, I think we were pretty dead on with some of. Well, I have Scotty Scheffler, so I feel good about that. But this course is all about iron play, QB. There's dog legs. You don't use driver in many cases, and it's very tight. So I understand.
It's surprising that JT shot 10 under par and tied the course record.
It is surprising.
Not a good course for him, but
61, 62, something like that.
61. Baseball.
Oh, and I had Russell Henley, by the way. Russell Henley. Unbelievable picking. So remember, top 5, top 10 winner. You ladder those at the Hard Rock. You win money with JC's picks. There you go.
Yeah, you have Henley, Woodland, Scheffler, and Lucas Glover. I don't
All
know
of them.
if they all did. All of mine are in contention. Justin Rose, Aaron Rye, Victor Hovland, and Shane Lowry.
Woodland is 5 under. Henley is 7 under. Scheffler is 7 under. The leader is 10 under. That's the top.
Baseball plays at Mississippi State. They have to sweep Mississippi State to have any chance at postseason play. Gymnastics season came to an end. I actually watched some of that.
Oh,
my goodness. We had the worst vault scoring of the year. And you got to tip your hat to Missouri. Missouri in the last 2, what do they call it? Apparatus.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
They stuck every landing, and it was like impeccable gymnastics. And so you had 4 teams from the SEC vying for 2 spots in the championship round. The Gators had it, but Missouri basically just took it away from them. So
I didn't know much. I didn't know Missouri was much about gymnastics, but
they've always been pretty good in gymnastics.
Really?
But this is the first time they've ever been to the national championship Saturday.
How worried are you about this softball team, QB?
Well, they're 37-10, JC.
Right. That's not what I asked, but go ahead.
They can't get anybody out.
Yeah.
And Rothrock's come back, and she's been getting hit. So, I mean, I'm not going to worry about it until they go to postseason play because, quite honestly, I think they will still host.
Yeah.
They will host the first round, maybe not a super regional, but
well, that would
I don't
imply
know what's going on with Rothrock.
That would imply they're not going to be a top 8 seed. Is that right?
Well, they're ranked in the top 8 right now.
But then if they don't host a super regional, potentially they would not be a top 8 seed in all likelihood. That's not automatic.
It's potential.
Potential.
But I mean, they're still 37-10. So I'm not worried about it.
You're not worried about it. Okay.
Some people may be, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm sure Tim ain't real happy right now.
No, I'm sure he's not. And you have to be a little worried about Rothrock. Coming back from injury is always difficult sometimes for some players, and it takes a while to get back into form. But how about the lady golfers? They're in form right now. That is great.
That is very surprising.
I love seeing that. That's wonderful. I thought it was surprising when the men won a national title. I know they had.
No, they had dudes, JC.
They did. They had the horses, but they were not favored. Florida State was favored to win that, or was it Georgia Tech?
I don't know how you can even
favorite
in golf. I mean, because all those guys are so damn good. Anybody on any given day can shoot 65, right?
Yeah. No, I get it.
It's not like they have bigger, faster.
No. I mean, yeah, you catch fire at the right time, you're going to win.
And that's what the girls' golf team has done extremely well.
So that's what the men did when they won it all too. They caught fire. Rory McIlroy caught fire in this 3rd round of the Masters or 2nd round. So that could happen in golf, and that's how it wins. But
Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, regarding the gymnastics deal. Where was the crowd? Lots of empty seats. They don't sell that place out Now it will be the second session could have been sold out because LSU was in the second session. But tomorrow for the national championship, OU will bring a ton of people. I'm sure Missouri folks ain't never been there, so they'll fill it up. But nicest damn arena in the world.
You do love that
The
arena.
Dickies Arena in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you do love that place.
I do.
You've been there. You have been there.
Yeah. I've never seen crown molding and marble tile in bathrooms of a
Welcome to
sports arena.
Texas. Welcome to Texas, TV.
Well, the American Airlines Arena ain't like that.
No, good point, but it's nice. I mean, I will tell you, it's very nice in the American Airlines Arena, but I hear you. Fort Worth is it's very different than Dallas. Very different.
I love Fort Worth.
Yeah, Fort Worth is close to Dallas, but it is very different.
It's way better than Dallas. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. I got JC here. Yeah. We got a lot of texts here, JC. I'm not going to read them all. They're not happy with you.
Why? Because the Bulls?
Yeah, you lost people to money.
I mean, you know, I made a pick. Hell, I made a pick. It missed. I mean, I really believe that I just thought Billy had something going with the Bulls. They were 3-0 against the Heat. The line went from 0 to -2. Money was all over them, and they lost. Okay, so either you quit or you fire back, and I'm going to fire back. I'm firing back.
Jimmy say, don't ever give up.
Yeah, yeah. What, are you going to quit? What? Are you going to quit?
Josh from Mississippi on the Titan MR text line says, gentlemen, spent the past couple of days in St. Augustine for work. Place is beautiful. Flying back home today out of Jacksonville. JC loves St. Augustine.
Love it. I'll be there probably today. It's Friday.
Here's a quick question from Bob in Orlando on the Titan MR text line. He says, Shane, 2 questions. What are your thoughts on Kyle Trask? Where will he end up, and will he get a shot somewhere? Any chance you get an interview with Todd Golden for the podcast? Would love hearing from him. I'll get Todd on in the summertime. Look, they're in the portal. I think what people don't realize, these guys are busy. Even though their season's over, they're busy. I don't like to bother people, and I know how long of a season was. He probably needs a vacation once the portal ends here to go with his family somewhere. But I will. Back to Kyle Trask. Trask re-signed with the Buccaneers. Will he get a shot to be a starter? No, he will not. He will not ever be a starter in the NFL.
So you mentioned the portal.
And this ain't nothing against him. It's just that's just how the dynamics work in the National Football League.
So you mentioned the portal a minute ago, and that Todd's looking around. This guy, Chad Baker Mazzara of Auburn, 6'7" senior. He is 26 years old.
I'd been in the league.
Oh my God!
I'd already been in the league for 4 years.
If that's, I read this in all kinds of weather. Nice tweet here. So
yeah, but he's transferred, which is very strange.
26 years old. He averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. He scored 18 points against the Gators in the Final Four. That was his best game, I guess. But you think the Gators could use him? I don't know. You think Todd would look at him?
Ooh.
Chad Baker Mazzara. I know he's
I don't know the kid. I've watched him play a lot. He's a good player.
Yeah.
But he can't. I think he could be one of those guys that the chemistry he can rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, he has to fit. And I guess at Auburn he fit until he decided he didn't fit. But
I don't know. He's in Auburn.
26-year-old player. I mean, it's kind of like what they have at BYU, isn't it? I mean, something like that. So I think he might be worth a look, though. He's an older guy. I think that could help a team, maybe. But you're right about the chemistry. It has to work in the locker room. And, Todd has a certain type of player that he wants, and he knows what he wants, and he gets what he wants most of the time. And, Florida's very competitive in the NIL issues with all that and in the portal. So, obviously, the portal is what brought these players to Florida that won the national title. So, that's where you got to keep looking, right?
Yeah, and we'll talk more with Franz about that. Obviously, if people missed it, both Alex Condon and Ruben Chinyelu both declared for the NBA draft. But they won't be hiring an agent, so they can come back to Florida if they don't like what they hear.
I
think they both will be back. The one that I'm glad is not in the NBA draft process is
Thomas
Houck, because he's the one that has the NBA skills.
Yeah, Thomas Houck. He'll be here. I'm very confident that both of these two will be back playing for Florida next fall.
Yeah.
If that's how I was going to bet.
This Day of Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union.
All right, so
1998 draft.
Oh, draft. Okay.
You know the first pick of the draft was in JC?
1988? No.
Peyton Manning by the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, his career didn't suck. He's pretty good.
He was terrible his rookie year. Remember that?
Yeah. He couldn't beat the Gators either. Had no wins against the
He never beat Coach Spur because he lost to us when he was I outdueled him.
Yeah,
you heard that right, folks. I outdueled Peyton Manning on a Sunday night game.
Yes,
Sunday night game. Redskins and Colts.
The Redskins and Colts. Well, Danny outdueled him every year in college. And there is a school though that he never lost to, and that would be Alabama. He never lost to Alabama.
Who? Peyton?
Man. And here's a fun fact for you. You ready for a fun fact? No, he never lost to Alabama. Here's a fun fact for you. The University of Florida is the only team to beat the University of Alabama in the SEC football championship. And the University of Alabama is the only team to beat the University of Florida in the SEC football championship.
Are you 100% sure of that?
Tell me someone who beat the Gators other than Alabama.
I'm trying to think.
No, you can't do it because Spurrier was coaching South Carolina when Cam Newton won.
Yeah.
And Alabama never lost to anybody other than Florida. I know that. They never lost to Georgia. Probably never will lose to Georgia in the SEC game, but they never did. So that's a fun fact for you. You got a fun fact on a Friday. Here's some other great picks for you in the NBA. Take the Detroit Pistons in the series against the Knicks plus 2.5 games. That means if it goes past 5, you win. Or if the Pistons win, you win. And the LA Lakers minus 1.5 games for the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They will win that in either 5 or 6. There you go. Or 4. They may sweep them. But I love the Lakers in the West with healthy LeBron and healthy Luka. And the biggest underdog pick I've ever seen is the Houston Rockets as the number 2 seed in the West, a 22.5 to 1 favorite, or underdog rather, to win the West. So you bet $20, you win 500 on the Houston Rockets to win the West. They are the 2 seed in the NBA, and nobody's talking about them. Absolutely nobody. They are playing the Golden State Warriors in the first round. Man, I'm telling you, nobody's talking about the Houston Rockets. They are
I couldn't tell you who coached them.
Doesn't matter.
Coaches that team. I can't tell you one player on the team.
Well, Coach Udoka, the one who Boston fired. Umai Udoka, I think his name is.
Yeah, something like that.
He's coaching the Houston Rockets, but they are unbelievably athletic and very young and physical. I think they're going to give Golden State all they want in this first round. So, I only get into the NBA during this time of year because why wouldn't I? You've got the Masters in the rearview mirror. The Gator basketball season is over. You got football that's done with their spring. You've got hockey playoffs, which are something you must watch if you like sports. And then you've got golf. You got the PGA tournament coming up, the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow this year in North Carolina in May, coming up next month. So that's what you have to look forward to. It's a lot, but you can really you can leverage your enjoyment in sports with the Hard Rock Sports Betting app. You can do that, and I gave you 2 winners in the conference playoffs: the Lakers minus 1.5, and the Lakers minus 1.5, and the Orlando. Did I say the Orlando Magic plus 2.5 in the series?
Kevin on the Titan Mark text line.
Pistons. Excuse me, Pistons plus.
He says he's taking the Knicks and the Wolves. Those must be opposite of what you just did, huh?
All right. Okay. I'm with you. Look, the Pistons plus 2.5, man. I'm telling you, that series is going 6. If it goes 6, you win. And if the Pistons win it, you win. I like the opportunity there. And you're getting odds. You get plus odds on that. So why wouldn't you look at that? The Clippers in the Western Conference are another sleeper. They're plus 1,200. That's 12 to 1 odds. The Clippers are, if Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, yeah, absolutely.
Has he played it all this year?
Well, nah, these guys are always injured, right? Until the money time. Now we're at the money time. James Harden can play. and they've got some dudes.
God, he's still playing, huh?
Yeah, but he still scores 30 a night. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anybody can win in these NBA playoffs. The Thunder is the overwhelming favorite, but the numbers are too short. You can't bet a short number with the Thunder. I mean, you're going to be laying odds there. That's crazy. I wouldn't do that.
Electronics World integration and design specialist for smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation service and support.
Are you going to call me?
Electronicsworld.net.
Are you going to call me a genius when Russell Henley or Gary Woodland wins this tournament this week?
I'll say it's a good pick because I was going to pick Russell Henley myself, and you picked him.
You took Rosie. You thought that guy's going to be able to come back.
He's 4 under par, JC.
Okay, well, yeah, that's good.
Would you take 4 under par?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd take.
Yeah, shout out to a gentleman that plays in my golf group at 82 years old from the Blue Tees at UF. Shot 3 under par the other day.
Connie?
I bet 3 under par.
I bet you he won hundreds of dollars.
He did. He won. He shot like 32.52, but he still won by shooting 3 under.
84. So he shot his age.
He always shoots his age.
He always shoots.
That's why you've ducked him, JC. That's why you will not.
Well, that's not why. But I do love Connie. I do. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a miracle, really.
But for somebody to shoot 3 under par on 9 holes at that golf course from the Blue Tees at 82, or he may be 83.
Incredible.
Pretty impressive, no doubt.
Well, God bless.
Next on the Titan Tomorrow text line from William, he says, QB, what will the football team do now that spring practice is over? Okay, that's a great question.
Go through that, QB. Go through that.
Well, I will tell you what I did and what I would do.
Play golf. You played golf is what you did.
I would play church league softball with our academic counselor, Tim Knight, had about 4 players. And we traveled the state, won a couple of state titles in church league softball. I don't know. I can't remember when intramural basketball season. I think that was before spring practice. And I've said it multiple times on this program. These kids nowadays need to do something. They need to get away from football and the training. I firmly believe that. Now, the coaches ain't going to do that, the strength guys, because they want them lifting year round. But I think that causes a lot of injuries. I firmly believe that. Nobody will ever change my mind. I don't care what they're doing in today's world. I don't care about the scientifics behind it. But that's what I don't have your answer. I'm sure they have a couple of weeks off, and then they'll hit their summer program, which gets ramped up.
What does the summer program entail?
That's lifting a couple times a day, running a couple times a day, meetings, OTAs, throwing. We didn't do any of that. And again, the times have changed, but the sport has not changed, right? They still tackle and throw the ball the same way.
Yeah.
That's why I think they do too much. And my advice is this is not just to college athletes. I keep saying this about high school kids. The ones that are going to specialize are making a huge mistake. Play every sport you can while you can, because you don't know which one's going to be your best, right?
Yep.
You may love football, but you may be a sharpshooter in basketball, and a school's going to give you a better offer there. So, anyway.
When do you think DJ is going to pick up a ball and actually?
They say the first week of June, I think, but I don't know, JC. It makes to this day, nobody. I just don't understand it.
So between now and June, which is well over a month, what does he do? Does he just run and stay in shape? Is that kind of thing?
He's going to lift. He's going to watch tape.
Oh, what? He's going to lift?
Yeah.
So if you're telling me he's going to lift.
Well, he may not lift with his upper body, but you do have a lower body, JC.
Oh, he's going to sit there and do leg exercises. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He'll go.
Right.
They'll go out. They'll go out. They'll go through their drops. He'll drop back and act like he's throwing again.
Yeah.
I
bet you his arm feels fine. I would be willing to bet, not that any of us know, that he feels absolutely fine. And basically they just said, hey man, we don't need you to throw until July. That's it. Or June or whenever you said. And he said, fine, okay. I'll bet you he's fine, dude.
No.
Huh? No?
He's not fine. He would be throwing. JC, he's played 6 games.
I just think with his history last year of being nicked up and
that's a huge concern.
They're being over. Yeah, and I get it. I understand why you would be overcautious. I certainly do. But I'll bet you if he was standing in my backyard and I was over here and there was a football, he could pick it up and zing it to me. No problem. No problem.
He might, but it may hurt him.
Well, if that's the case,
I don't know.
Then
I'm just saying,
I
think it's very odd for,
I
think he's 19. I don't know if he's 20,
It
for
is
somebody his age to have arm problems.
100%, 1,000. I mean, and he's not
I'm
unless he's
55.
a
I'm almost
baseball pitcher.
55, and I can go out and
Right,
throw
right.
100 balls today.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a damn baseball pitcher throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour, yeah, you should. Even at that age, you probably should be okay. I agree. I think you're right. I just don't. I just can't imagine if that's the case that he would be really bad without having to get surgery. And if you do need surgery, the sooner the better, don't you think, QB?
Barone says
So,
on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumber, says he won 5 out of his six bets. JC, you would be proud. Well,
I am proud.
Maybe Barone needs to give the Peachland Dental picks.
Well, what 5 out of 6 did he win exactly?
I don't know. Well, he didn't give me all that.
Okay, 5 out of 6 is good. But yeah, so we don't look those playing games. I'm not sure if I'm for them or against them. Really, I don't know why you can't just take the best 8 and go after it. But that's what they're figuring out, and they'll do that. And now after tonight's the games or whenever, we'll get to 1 through 8. But most of the playoffs have been set, and they have all been set in hockey. And I'm so disappointed that I won't be in Winnipeg next week because I can't go on a Wednesday. Game 5 would be a Wednesday. I factored it in to be on a Monday, and that's not the case. So we'll do round 2 if the Jets beat the Blues. Hopefully they will.
All right. A couple people here asked who the quarterback was when I played against Tennessee. It was Heath Schuler and Andy Kelly were the quarterbacks.
Yeah. I'll never forget that game with Andy Kelly in the rain. That did not go well.
No, that was Heath Schuler in the rain. That was my senior year.
Okay. When did Andy Kelly beat you?
He beat us in 1990.
That's what I'm talking about.
It didn't rain. It didn't rain a drop. It was 7-3 at half.
No,
ran the opening kickoff back, and all hell broke loose.
okay, that did not rain.
Mm-mm.
I was there. I don't know why.
It rained so hard.
It was the other
my
game.
Senior year in Knoxville that it looked like Niagara Falls coming down the steps.
Well,
and the whole sideline was flooded.
I was in both those damn games. I remember, and those were miserable nights in Tennessee at Rocky Top. How about Tennessee, though? I mean, this guy, Iamaleava, goes to UCLA for a pay cut now. So he basically cut off his nose to spite his face.
So I forgot who the coach was at UCLA. Do you know who the coach is at UCLA, JC?
Yeah, Deshaun Foster.
Okay. Did you happen to see his press conference at the Big Ten?
Pretty bad. Yeah.
It was the worst press conference.
My name is Deshaun Foster.
He goes, we're glad to be in this conference. We're UCLA. We share the town with USC.
Yeah. You have any questions?
Then he looks over like to the media guy and goes, I don't have anything else to say. Questions? I was like, who are you? Did you not prepare? I mean, you were a former professional football player. You talked to the media your entire life.
Not want to talk.
What to say about your program?
He did not want to talk.
But bottom line is they suck and they're going to be terrible this year.
Well, anyway, they got this kid, Iamaleava, and the kid cut himself, cut his salary. He took down money. He's getting less than he got at Tennessee. So these kids, sometimes they just get bad advice or they believe in things that aren't true. Reality is difficult to understand sometimes for young people, but he's getting less, I think, at UCLA than he was getting at Tennessee. And good for Tennessee. They just cut him out. They just said, take off, dude. You don't want to be here. You're not welcome.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's gonna play quarterback at Tennessee now, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean they'll get somebody, and quite honestly, I think they're gonna get somebody that's better than him.
Probably. Yeah. I didn't think he was that good.
And he's freaking terrible.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Which
it didn't really surprise me. He played against a bunch of poor teams to start off. Everybody got enamored with his last name. And then he played somebody that was good with a heartbeat, and he was lousy. He didn't play well. So
John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, my theory is that there was no shoulder pain to begin with. I will say that is false. They just didn't want anybody coming after DJ, so they came up with an injury. As soon as spring is over, he is good to throw again.
No,
I wish your theory was correct, but it's not.
We just don't know anything, though.
We know that he has a lot of injuries. That's a fact.
We did see that last year, but going forward, What do we know? We just know he's here.
All right, JC, we're going to get to Franz, talk a little Gator sports.
All right.
Good luck on all your Peachland Dental picks, and hopefully the loyal listeners around the world will not be throwing knives at you on Monday.
Pistons plus 2.5, Lakers minus 1.5, and Henley, Woodland, and Scheffler all top 10, top 5.
Well, they can't do that now. They were supposed to do that on Wednesday.
Well, you can do it before each round. The numbers are just shorter. That's all.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll talk to Franz Beer. Get your questions ready. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back. Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Meals Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
National Diamond Center Studios. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians. Great food and southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's our man Franz Beer from Gator Bait Media. What's going on, Franz? How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing very, very well, and it's kind of enjoyable here. Todd Golden probably going to add another piece to the puzzle with A.J. Brown out of Ohio University, who is the older brother of Isaiah Brown, sort of a clone of Isaiah, only a little bit older and more experienced. And we're going to be able to say that Florida doesn't rebuild, but Florida reloads by adding Xavier Lee, by adding this guy. I think they're going to add one more guy, one more big guy who probably has a couple of years of eligibility, because you got to remember, next year Micah is going to be a senior. Condon and Hawk, I don't believe will be here beyond next year. They're going to be back this year, I feel certain. Ruben, probably the same thing. So you're going to have to rebuild that front court. So I would imagine he's going to get one guy, maybe even 2 more, because you got to remember the SEC expands to 15 scholarships this year for basketball. So he's got room to play a little bit. He could add 2 more, I believe. So a couple big guys, one AJ Brown and a big guy, maybe even 2, depending on if there's any more roster movement.
Well, AJ Brown, will he have just 1 year of eligibility?
2. He's got 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is he like is he more like Will Richard, or is he more like Elijah Martin?
He's more of a Will Richard type. He's 6'4", 6'4.5", 6'5". I broadcast some games at the Villages a couple of years ago when he was on the same team with Vin Allen Lubin, who went to Notre Dame and then to Vanderbilt. Now he's at North Carolina. But Vin Allen Lubin was supposed to be the star of that team, and A.J. Brown was the star of that team. He's 6'4.5", 6'5", and can just literally jump out of the gym. But he's one of these guys, Shane, that is a lot like Elijah Martin in one respect, in that he just shows up where the ball is a lot of the time. You know how one of the fun things about Elijah was there's a loose ball on the floor and he just kind of shows up where it is and it picks it up. He had that knack of doing that. And this is a guy that in his high school days and throughout his time at Ohio University has that same reputation, a guy that just shows up where the ball is.
Here's a good question from AU Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He says, does it pose a problem if the Florida basketball players testing the NBA come back to Florida, but Todd fills some of their positions with players in the portal? What dynamic does this have on playing time and chemistry? I guess, look, Todd knows what he has in the guys, and we all believe that Alex Condon and Ruben, they're not going to be ready for the NBA. The one big, in my opinion, that I'm glad is not testing the NBA is Thomas Houck. I think he's a NBA player. But I guess what I'm at, when do they have to decide when they're coming back? And I see what AU Gator is talking about here, because if we were to lose those 2 guys to the NBA, Todd needs to fill those spots.
Yeah.
So how does that going to work there, Franz?
Well, they've got until June 15th to do it. And they're, the only way they stay in the draft, and both these guys are very honest with Todd to begin with. It's not going to be one of these things where they're looking at the last minute and they're saying, well, what the hell, we'll stay in the draft. These guys, and Tommy Hawk's going to go to the draft combines too. They all know what that did for Will and Walt last year. Those guys went up there, got a better clue of what they needed to do. And you look at what happened. Will Richard this year became an elite defender. Not good. He was always a good defender. He became an elite defender after the work he got in the combines and the draft camps and stuff like that. Walter Clayton Jr. becomes an elite point guard who also became a very competent defender. We tend to overlook Walt's defense because of the fact that he was so good offensively. But he, let's face it, he makes the play of the play of the century on the last play against Houston by going up in the air and forcing Emmanuel Sharp to drop the ball on the ground without fouling him. So this is what they're there for. And these guys, all 3 of them know that they need another year. Okay. Tommy needs the next year because he's got to prove it over the course of a year as a starter. I talked to NBA people in San Antonio and they say, yeah, he's an NBA guy, but he needs to have a year for his own sake. He needs to have a year as a starter. Condon and Ruben, they've got to develop offensively. And Ruben's got to learn how to play without fouling.
Yeah. John's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Thoughts on Baker Mazzara? Are you surprised he's leaving Auburn? And, any chance the Gators go after him?
No, none at all. This is not. We're talking about the team with the best chemistry we've seen in 18 years, and they're not going to bring in a guy who quite frankly is going to be 26 years old very soon, and he's going to be next year almost 27 years old playing. I mean, he's a grown man playing in a game with 17 and 18-year-old kids, and I'm not going to defend him for some of the things he does. I'm not going to condone him, but he's not a guy that fits here. And I think Auburn kind of, when he threatened to go in the portal, I think Auburn said, don't let the screen door hit you in the butt on the way out.
Kanye Ron on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says we lost 2 stellar coordinators. Todd has already replaced both of those guys. Your thoughts on them?
Well, Jonathan Sapphire, excuse me, is he's an analytical guy, and he is really, really good. He's done some stuff with Ken Pomeroy, KenPom.com, and stuff like that. He's really, really good. Kevin Hovde, let's face it, Kevin was an offensive genius. I mean, you look at the play he designed for Walter to get that 3 that tied the game against Houston. That was one of the most brilliantly designed plays. And when you watch the 3 screens that get him open, and it took that because Houston was a really good defensive team. And plus, they turned everything into a rock fight. David Klatsky, 68-16 in 3 years at NYU. And he came within 4 points of winning the Division III national championship this year. His cousin is Alex Klatsky, who a lot of people will remember was a walk-on that everybody loved it when he got on. He was the guy. He was Bennett Anderson before there was Bennett Anderson, the guy that everybody went crazy for when he shot.
I was trying to remember why I knew that name, last name. So it's because of his little brother?
Cousin.
Their
cousin. But he's a really good coach. And here's what he gives it. He gives us a Northeast guy that really understands the recruiting and has connections throughout the Northeast. Division III guys who are really successful are guys that know everybody. And because they have to, because they got to get guys who don't get scholarships, who can still play at a pretty good level. Your successful Division III coaches literally know everybody on the recruiting trail. So you get a guy up there who knows everybody in New York, in Metro New York, et cetera, like that. I think that's a really, really good addition. Jonathan, analytically, probably as good as it gets. So I think he's probably going to add another coach, though, at some point in time.
And how long is this, or do they have to sign guys for basketball? You say till June?
No, they've got till June to decide that if they're coming back. Once they say they're going to declare for the NBA, they've got till June 15th. The portal is going to close up here in about another week or so, and you're going to have guys that are still in there, so you can get them. Another thing you look for, Shane, is I think he may go the route of the international player. There's a kid in Australia, for example, named Ben Henshaw, who is one of Alex Condon's buddies. They played together on the Australian national team, but he's from Perth also. And he is a 6'7" guy that really has skills. Good three-point shooter, strong rebounder, etc., like that. And probably the kind of guy that you want to have, because he's not going to be ready for the NBA for 3 years. You get this guy and you've got him for 3 years, maybe even 4. So that's another guy. There's a big man out of either Serbia or Slovenia that they're after, that I know that they're after too. And I think they're going to get him. There's a 7'3" guy out of Serbia, who's another one that really, he's declared for the draft, but he may pull his name out. And if he does, that's a guy that Florida could also look at as well. So Todd's got this program in an interesting position, Shane, in that the Gators are not going to rebuild. They are going to reload. And that's what they used to do with Billy. And this guy is as good at roster construction as anybody I've seen. I mean, he really, really understands how to build a team. And he's got the advantage of having built a real team chemistry here that's second to none.
CJ Ingram will be here next year as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still growing.
Yeah.
He's 6'6.5", and he's still growing. He's
that
gonna,
Will Richard type guy, right?
Oh, yeah. He may end up being that Tommy Hawk type guy, and that I think he's going to top out at about 6'8", or maybe even get to 6'9".
Wow.
You look at him though, and there's no DNA test necessary with that. I mean, he looks like just a taller, skinnier version of dear old dad.
Yeah.
And they have a younger brother now that's coming up there in Hawthorne. That now he may end up being the football player of the bunch. He quarterbacks the football team. He's the all everything on the basketball team. But they got a younger brother that may end up being the football player that comes here. But CJ is he may end up being like I said. I think he may end up being more like Tommy Hawk than he does Will Richard. Right now, he's about Will Richard's side. They also got a guy named Alex Lloyd, who is he's one of these guys that his range is when the bus parks and he gets off of it. He's a guy that's going to be like Walter, that all of a sudden you're sitting there saying, why are you taking that? What a great 30-foot shot, We had a guy in Gainesville named Monty Tao, used to play for North Carolina State. And this is before there was a 3-point shot. And I was up at Virginia one night, and he hit 8 in a row and I promise you the closest one was about 27 or 28 feet. And Norm Sloan, this is in 74, the year they won the national championship. And Norm Sloan hollers at him when he comes out of the court. He says, if you take another one of those shots and miss it, he says, you might as well come sit on the bench. Monty gets across midcourt, launches, and he goes boom, 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 comes back out. And he just ran over there to the bench and sat down on the bench. The game's still going. Norm had to call timeout because that happened.
Miapalan Cafe. Discover the ultimate Cuban culinary experience at Miapalan Cafe. 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua. You're never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. A few more minutes with Franz Beard. Franz, let me ask you this. I want to ask you a football question to end the show, but softball right now. I want to say Rothrock pitched last night. I thought I saw her name on the Twitter feed. What's the issue there? Because the team's only going to go as far as Rothrock takes them. And all I care about is postseason play. But what do you know, and what's going on there?
She doesn't have the velocity right now. She's had some shoulder issues, and right now she does not have the velocity. And I don't know if she can get it back, Shane. Not this year anyway. She's had the problem with the legs last year. This year it's the shoulder. She might be just at that point where Tim's got to shut her down and say, okay, we'll see you in May when the playoffs begin, and he may need to do that with her. They've got the offense to be a really great team, right. but right now the pitching's a problem. Ava Brown, fortunately, is pitching really, really well, but Olivia Miller and Hammock have got to come up. Oxley, the freshman, I think has great potential as well. Next year, they've got the top high school pitcher in the country coming as well. So pitching is in the future is going to be fine, but right now it's a disaster.
Yeah. Hopefully she can get right for postseason play, because that's the only hope. Okay, we had a lot of discussion about DJ going to start throwing here in a couple of weeks, I guess. I still have concerns because I think it's very bizarre. Some people think their theory is we just held him out of practice so no other teams would want to throw money at him or whatever. But what's your concern with DJ's shoulder or injuries or whatever it may be moving forward?
Well, I have lingering shoulder issues myself. I mean, I've had rotator cuff surgery and I've dislocated it. And so I understand trust me, the knee, and I'm going to have surgery on the knee. The knee's nothing compared to the shoulder. I mean, I don't know what it is about it, but shoulder injuries are a beast to come back from. I've heard conflicting things, Shane. I've heard that they did not want to risk him getting hurt, and they wanted to get Harrison Bailey the snaps in the spring, which they got. And I thought Harrison Bailey looked very good. I don't think he looked great, but I thought he looked very good, and certainly farther along than last year when DJ went down and we had to put Aiden Warner in there. And Aiden Warner's competent, but that's about as good as you can say with that. But here's the thing, as you know, quarterbacks are made in June and July. Quarterbacks and receivers, they're not made in the spring. Those 15 practices in the spring. If the guy knows the offense, he's going to know the offense. He doesn't need the spring. It's in June and July when you're out there and there are no restrictions on time, when you can get out there and throw for 3 hours or whatever like that, work on things with receivers. That's when quarterbacks are made, and that's when quarterbacks are broken as well, because a lot of quarterbacks find out during those times they just ain't got it. You were one of these guys that you got out there and you could throw forever because you had an almost effortless motion and you could just throw forever. And you had guys like Jack Jackson who'd be happy to run routes as long as you could throw them. Jack and Willie Jackson. My gosh, has anybody ever run a slant better than Willie Jackson? I got a question on that. I've never seen anybody. That was like automatic. You could run the slant and first down. So, but I've heard conflicting things about it. If it's a shoulder injury, then yeah, they got to treat it as seriously because it can linger. I hope it wasn't a rotator cuff that they're trying to let heal on its own, because I don't know if those things ever heal on their own. Having had to deal with one, and they tried to get mine to heal for 6 months, and finally they gave up on it. They did that. If it's a case of maybe, some bone chips or something like that, that's easily done with arthroscopic surgery. And he may have had that happen, because you'd never notice that because you don't necessarily have to be wearing a sling or anything like that. You just pack it up with bandage it up and everything like that. My guess is that's probably the case right there, is just maybe some bone chips in there, stuff like that. But that would be minor. That's a best case scenario too, I believe.
Yep. So hopefully it all gets worked out. So just shoot it up if you have to and go play. Franz, good stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon, bud. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. Hey, you take care. Hey, I hope you hit it well today.
Yes, sir.
Fairways and greens.
That's right. That's Franz Beard. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Injuries occur whenever and however it's never convenient. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. That's UF Health Orthopedics and Sports